Welcome to the Bare Metal Cybersysm Prepcast. This series helps you prepare for the exam with focused explanations and practical context. Policies define what must be done, setting the organization's direction and establishing mandatory expectations for behavior or performance. Procedures explain how those expectations are executed in practice, detailing the specific steps required to carry out a policy's intent. Guidelines, on the other hand, provide recommended practices where consistency is important but flexibility is acceptable, especially when a single standardized method may not be appropriate across all systems or departments. While procedures are enforceable and must be followed as written, guidelines are advisory and allow room for professional judgment. Keeping these distinctions clear is essential. It helps eliminate ambiguity and supports consistent implementation across teams. All three types of documentation must be layered appropriately, aligned with one another, and placed within a well-defined hierarchy so that users understand their purpose and how they relate to the broader security program. Procedures exist to translate general policy statements into clear, repeatable steps that operational staff can follow with minimal interpretation. This translation is critical because it turns abstract goals into tangible actions. By standardizing task execution, procedures ensure consistency and reduce variation in outcomes, regardless of who performs the task or when it is performed. They also assign responsibility at a detailed level, identifying which roles are accountable for completing specific steps, thereby promoting accountability across departments. In addition, procedures serve as key references during internal audits, security incidents, and employee training sessions. Because of their clarity and structure, they also enable individuals without deep technical expertise to complete complex or sensitive tasks accurately and securely. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Guidelines are used when procedures would be too rigid or prescriptive for the situation at hand. They are particularly valuable in environments where variation is necessary due to different systems, departmental needs, or deployment contexts. For example, when standards vary between legacy systems and cloud environments, a guideline offers a general approach without enforcing a single solution. Guidelines are also useful in fast-changing environments where procedures may quickly become outdated, such as emerging technology areas or newly adopted platforms. In these cases, guidelines offer a flexible starting point for decision-making without locking users into strict workflows. Despite their flexibility, however, guidelines must still align with the organization's overarching policy objectives and fall within acceptable risk thresholds to maintain overall security integrity. To be effective, a procedure document must follow a clear and standardized structure. It should begin with a specific title and a defined scope that describes exactly which systems or users the procedure applies to. A purpose statement should follow, explaining the intent of the document and how it supports the related policy or broader security objective. Prerequisites are then listed, identifying any required access credentials, tools, software, or environmental conditions needed before starting the task. The core of the document contains the step-by-step instructions, written in a concise and sequential format, usually using numbered steps to eliminate confusion. Finally, each procedure must specify roles and responsibilities, clearly indicating which team or individual performs each action, who reviews the outcome, and who provides final approval where applicable. Actionable procedures must use simple, unambiguous language so that readers of all skill levels can understand and execute the tasks. Terminology must be consistent throughout the document and aligned with internal naming conventions or system labels to avoid misinterpretation. Instructions should be focused entirely on task execution. Unnecessary background information, policy references, or theoretical commentary should be excluded. Where appropriate, procedures may include troubleshooting notes or checkpoints to help users recognize and resolve common issues. For steps that require interaction with tools, software interfaces, or system commands, specific names, screen identifiers, or command line syntax must be included so users know exactly what to look for or input. Standardization is critical to the usability and effectiveness of procedures across a large or distributed organization. Templates should be used to ensure each procedure follows the same layout, language, and logic structure, regardless of the department creating it. Documents must include version control indicators, a log of approval dates and responsible parties, and contact information for document owners or subject matter experts. Formatting standards such as clear headings, well-structured bullet points, and uniform spacing must be applied to maintain readability. To ensure secure and reliable access, all procedures should be stored in centralized, access-controlled repositories such as document management systems or knowledge portals. Finally, formats must be accessible across devices, with mobile compatibility considered for field operations or on-call teams. Effective procedure development depends on active collaboration between the teams that create the documents and those that use them. Frontline operational personnel must be involved early as they bring practical insights and help identify steps that may not be obvious to document authors. Input from IT, security, and compliance personnel is also necessary to ensure the procedure is accurate and aligns with technical standards and regulatory requirements. To validate the procedure's feasibility, a walkthrough or tabletop test should be conducted before finalization, allowing participants to verify that each step can be executed as written. This helps identify discrepancies between the documented process and real-world practices. Throughout development, feedback should be collected and incorporated systematically, ensuring the final version reflects both user needs and organizational requirements. Procedures must be maintained as living documents. Regular review cycles should be scheduled based on the organization's risk environment, the criticality of the procedure, or how frequently the underlying systems change. In addition to scheduled reviews, updates should be triggered by any change in controls, system upgrades, regulatory shifts, or security incidents that alter the expected workflow. Any outdated, duplicate, or redundant procedures must be retired promptly to prevent confusion or accidental use. Revision history must be maintained to ensure transparency, with each change documented alongside its rationale and the name of the approving authority. Once a procedure has been revised, it is essential to distribute the update to all affected teams and verify that the new version is adopted and understood. Training and communication are essential to ensuring that procedures are actually used and followed. Staff must be introduced to relevant procedures during onboarding and when their roles or responsibilities change. Beyond formal training, reinforcement activities, such as tabletop exercises or simulated incident responses, help keep procedures fresh and test their real-world effectiveness. Integration into regular awareness campaigns, whether through newsletters, internal briefings, or alerts, ensures ongoing visibility. Monitoring tools can be used to verify that procedures are being accessed and followed, helping identify gaps in awareness or training. For particularly sensitive or complex tasks, supplementary materials such as visual job aids, quick recommended checklists, or annotated screenshots should be provided to aid comprehension and reduce the risk of error. Procedures must not exist in isolation. They must be actively integrated into the organization's control frameworks. Each procedure should be mapped to specific control objectives and compliance criteria so that they can be referenced directly during internal audits, external assessments, or regulatory reviews. Procedures also serve as evidence of operating effectiveness when assessing controls, especially when paired with monitoring logs or execution records. Their integration into broader workflows, including incident response and change management processes, ensures they remain operationally relevant. Metrics drawn from procedural performance, such as completion time, error rates, or deviation frequency, should be reflected in dashboards and used to inform performance indicators. Ultimately, procedures should be treated as living instruments within the security program, regularly updated, consistently referenced, and aligned with strategic and operational goals. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal CyberSysm Prepcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com.